This meeting to order. If I can have everyone please take your seats. Can you hear me in the back? Well, maybe if everyone else started quieting down. You... Oh, I need to be like this. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. Hello. Thank you, everyone, for being here this evening. My name is Marco Cuevas. I'm the chair of the Westside Community Council, although in my opinion, it's just a title. You know, I have a great board behind me. Before I get started introducing them, here's our vice president. I'm going to have Yvonne just quickly announce an interpretation for us.
Hi, if anybody needs interpretation in Spanish, I'll be at the green table towards the back on the avenue side. And we have Sandra Reyes Munoz will be your interpreter for live interpreting. I will be online for anybody that needs interpretation online via the Zoom. Cualquier persona que ocupe interpretación en español aquí en vivo, tenemos a Sandra Muñoz en vivo para esta interpretación y yo estaré en la internet a través de videollamada Zoom, interpretando para los que ocupen allí. Muchísimas gracias. Adiós.
Thank you, Yvonne. Yeah, and so really quickly, if I could just have our Westside Community Council board members stand. I think pretty sure they're standing around. We have Pete Freeman over here as our secretary, our vice president, Eric, our treasurer, Kay, Orlando, one of our officers, Helen, our communications chair, Ron, our Revite chair, and I know I always forget someone. Eric. No, and that's Eric. We got 7 of us. Yep, there's 7 of us. All right, perfect. So I'm really optimistic about this year and the things that we're going to do to progress this organization. I'll put Eric right on the spot and bring him up to invite everyone here today to join us in membership. By a quick show of hands, how many of you, this is your first Westside Community Council meeting? Great. While he's making his way over here, we're going to go ahead and pass the mic around. If you guys want to introduce yourselves, what brought you here today, just trying to bring more of that community vibe. And so please introduce yourself amongst and get to know your neighbors. But do we have a mic in the back that we could pass around by chance? Don't be shy. Who wants to go first?
Hi, my name is Lindy, and I just moved to Ventura in October, and I live on the avenue.
Welcome.
Welcome, Liz. Yeah, good to be here. Good to see you. I'm Lori Steinhauer. I'm one of the OGs of the Westside Community Council. I live on the West Side, and I love being part of this community and this community council. And I got a new business going called Real Therapy in town. So if you know anybody who needs help,
Hello, my name is Hilda. I live in the West Side. I was also part of the council member a long time ago, so I wanted to be involved in this community to help. Thank you, everybody, for staying with us.
Hello, my name is Nathaniel. I am a resident on Olive, and this is my first time here, so thanks.
Hi, I'm Maureen. I also live on Olive. This is my first time here, and I'm really interested in getting to know more members of my community and getting involved in any way I can.
Hi, my name is Dania, and I think this is my time after so many years. I live in the West Side for the last 2 years, and I love it.
Great, welcome.
Hi, I'm Pat Brown. I'm visiting from Camarillo because this topic of talking about MECOs and AB 626 is really important to me.
Welcome.
Jan Dietrich from just outside the city limits on the West Side, and always happy to be with this community. Thank you. And
I'm Kevin Werbolowski. I'm Eric's brother, and recently moved to Ramona, West Ramona, and very happy to be here. Eric sent out an email encouraging new people that haven't come yet to one of these meetings, and I foot the bill, and I fit the bill. I don't foot the bill, thankfully. So that's it. Thanks, everybody. Glad to be here.
Welcome.
Hi, everyone. My name is Seward. This is my first time here. I live over on Olive and just trying to get more involved in my community.
Hi, I'm Vanessa and I don't live on the west side. I live in Midtown, but I love the west side. I love Ventura.
Welcome.
My name is Orlando. I come into Santa Paula. It's the first time coming here.
Bienvenidos.
On my wife and my girl.
My name is Matt. I'm a resident of the West Side. I live on West Vince Street, the Cuernavaca block. This is my 8th year or 9th year on the council, so time flies.
Linda, I live on Harrison.
Hi, I'm Helga Ono. I live down the street.
Hi, everybody. My name is Alejandra Belalcázar. I'm also a resident of the West Side. I live off El Medio Street, and I'm the communication specialist for the city, and you'll see me. I come every single time. Hello, everyone.
Yes, welcome. Anyone else? All right. Welcome, everyone. Thank you all for being here. I'm going to invite Eric, our vice president, to sort of just do an invitation to membership, give a little spiel on why our guests here tonight should be here long-term and what we do and stuff.
Marco, everybody. He's doing a lot of work in the background. Give it up for Marco. So low key, I wouldn't have the patience he has with all this process. Oh my gosh. I just want to get busy on projects. And that's what I'd encourage. The takeaway from this meeting is there was a bunch of interested residents and that we can help make projects happen, whether we're cleaning up a field, we're helping people get good food, access to good available food locally, and doing a whole host of other things. We're doing more parties and activities using our new park. We're getting very involved in planning process. I'm persuading Ron to let go of the title Revitalization Committee and turn it into the greening of the West Side because it's more involved in that. We have seeds over here, a lot of seeds from our Heirloom Expo and our county fair activities. But as you know, spring is the time to plant, always here in Ventura. I'd encourage you to bring someone back to our meetings. Also look for committee meetings of special interests. I assume a lot of folks here have interests beyond just the specific plan of downtown Ventura, right? We're very locally involved, and this is a unique organization in the town. This is a very grassroots, it's free membership. They'll shake down for a little money to pay for pizza and stuff, but anyone who lives or works in the West Side is automatically, boom, a member of West Side Community Council and is invited to participate at every level, as is important, dare I say, as Marco. Not as me, however, but I got issues. Anyway, thanks everyone for coming. And Marco, thanks for surprising me on the announcement. Please spread the word, share it with our neighbors everywhere. There's so many new people here on the West Side, and they would love to hear about a grassroots community organization that is doing things together in a direct action kind of way. So thanks for being here. Let's go, everybody.
Thank you, Eric. So sort of add on to that a little bit. I mean, everyone on the board, and you don't have to be on the board to get involved. I mean, Matt's going to help us with fundraising. And so, yes, membership is free. You don't have to feel obligated to donate, but we just got the green light to fundraise. And unfortunately, we do need money to operate and expand upon certain aspects of our organization. So I'm going to do a minor shakedown in terms of something we used to do before. We're bringing back some of the OG stuff. So it's nice to see a lot of the OGs here and have one back on the board in terms of the bring a friend, but also the pass the hat. So if you have any change that you can spare, I'm just going to go ahead and pass this hat around. It would be greatly appreciated. And in terms of, thanking everyone, I could be here all night, but just really quick, some people off the top of my head. Obviously, thank you to the board and those of you here tonight. Thank you for those that helped spread the word about tonight's meeting. We're trying to do all this multifaceted approach to marketing, be it word of mouth, emailing people, sharing on Facebook. I texted Maria last night. I was like, I'm just like, can you put this on the Manos Unidas Facebook page? And she did it, and I'm pretty sure it brought even more people here tonight. So we're trying to grow this organization of people and doers and stuff like that. And so it starts with just convening here tonight, but we'll get into more of that in the future. So in an effort for time, I'm going to move on to our standing reports, starting with the Patrol Watch report. Commander Hurd couldn't be here tonight, but we have Officer Prater who's going to go ahead and give us our Patrol Watch update.
Hi, Corey Prater, VPD. I work this area, Beat 1 we call it, so the downtown area. I'm here just to present some numbers for crime stats for over the month. So I don't know. Oh, it is up there. Okay, perfect. There were some handouts. I don't know if there were enough to go around, but these are just the numbers over the month of crime reports that we took. You can see it up there. We had 1 arson, 11 assault offenses. So that would be like batteries, any sort of like fight or something like that. Burglary, breaking and entering. We had 2 of those. Vandalisms, we had 7. Drug offenses, 23. Fraud, so like stealing people's credit cards, using them, that kind of thing. We had 5 of those. Theft reports, 14. Vehicle thefts, 2. Robbery, 2, for a total of 67 in a month period down here in the downtown area. So, we try to be proactive. A lot of those drug offenses are going to be guys out there trying to find people in possession of drug offense, or being in possession of drugs. So that's why that number is probably a little bit higher, because guys are out there looking for that kind of stuff. The laws changed as of January, making some drug offenses after multiple possession charges felonies. So things are changing a little bit with that. Obviously, we all know that fentanyl is taking a hard grasp on not just this city, but throughout the country. So I think that was kind of a reaction to those things. And so we have a lot of guys out there looking for people in possession of drugs to try to get them off the streets, long-term, get them help off of drugs. So I can take any questions if anybody has any questions, but that's kind of the stats for the month leading up to now. Are there any questions? Yes, sir.
If nobody else. Last year I saw that we had a bicycle patrol.
Yes.
Is that going on, or
so
where will they be? Because it seemed like, I think they spent most of their time at the beach.
So I used to be a part of the team that predominantly did bike patrol. It's called PTF. It's the Patrol Task Force, which focuses a lot downtown. We deal with mainly our homeless population. So when we're on bike patrol, we try to be downtown. Obviously, I'm sorry, on the promenade. Obviously, there was a lot of issues on the promenade in recent years. So we like to have high visibility down there. We would do bike patrols in this downtown area, more downtown area, like on Main Street, especially with like Main Street moves, all of those things. We get a lot of complaints of kids being on bikes, causing a ruckus down there. So we would try to be down there. A lot of that's high visibility. We do also have other guys in the department that are bike trained that will go out, and we'll post overtime for that. So we do try to put those out there, and it's really just a high visibility, being seen. You can kind of come up on somebody quickly and speak to them way faster on a bike than you can in a black and white, because they see black and white coming and everybody scatters. So it is enforcement, but it was way more just of a community aspect of having people in the community seeing us out on bikes, seeing a police officer roaming around a little bit more. So it does exist. It will continue to exist. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah. That comes from our crime analysis department. So if you went online, you could see the whole entire city. If you went on crime analysis, you could see everywhere. Obviously for this meeting, it's more important that we focus on the downtown area. But yeah, we do have a great department that tracks those and kind of helps us to know where to focus. Yeah. Well, it helps us too. We get that in an email. Every police officer gets that in an email. So we get to know kind of in our beat where we should be hanging out a little bit more. So it's helpful for us as well. So. Anybody else? I'll stay here all night. It's raining out there, guys. Go ahead.
Thank you, or thank who's ever in charge of this area. Recently, we complained on Sunnyway. We had a lot of drunkens in
Yes,
the liquor
you
store.
did.
I
Yes,
want to
you
tell
did.
you guys have been doing a good job.
Yes.
Well, they don't do it anymore. They do go to another street, but it's clean, and Sammy, the owner, is happy.
Yes.
You guys do come up, sneak up now, and you guys are citing.
Yep.
And I think what helped was that there was a black explorer at the end of the street and just walked up behind them. So
Yeah. So the
I
all
just wanted to thank you.
You're welcome.
for your
Thank you.
service
Thank you for
because
saying that.
you
I
did it.
appreciate that. I appreciate that. So the all black explorers that you see running around, those. So, but if it's an all blacked out one, that's what I'm trying to say. So if it's not a black and white, it's an all black car. That's PTF. So they definitely got that complaint. I can promise you that because I was in that unit for a number of years. So that came down to them, and it was like, okay, we need to get you guys down there and solve this problem. So, yeah, I appreciate it. I'm glad that I'm happy for you. I'm happy that's the case. All right. Yes, Liz.
On the record, that you should be thanked for all the work you're doing in Vaughn's Plaza, but more especially in the alleyways up
Yes.
Garden Street and the plaza behind it.
Yes, that's one of my
that's-
favorite places to go to look for people doing drugs because a lot
Yeah,
of people
it's
do drugs
really,
in that
really
area.
cleaning up, and
Yeah.
I thank you for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. If you were to look at the map and you were to look at where Vaughn's is, a lot of, particularly the narcotics arrests or stops there are in this area are made in that area, for sure. So we all know that people like to congregate there and they like to try to hide and do drugs. Yes, ma'am.
Now, so far I haven't had any problems walking in that area, but would you recommend, anything for me? Because I'm not going to stop
Sure.
walking.
Well, and I don't want you to feel unsafe in your city and not be able to. All I would say, I'm a police officer, and when I walk around at night, I'm just hyper vigilant. I just try to pay attention to anything that doesn't seem right. If it doesn't seem right, get to a safe area, please. But definitely call it in. I know a lot of people, this is going to sound silly coming from one of us, but a lot of people feel like it's a burden for you to call us for what you might think is kind of a minor issue. It's never a burden. I'd rather get called and come over.
Is there a non-911 number
Yeah.
that I should be using?
Yes. 650-8010, I believe it is. Yeah, I believe it's 650-8010. That's the non-emergency line. But if you just Googled it, it would come up as well. But I believe it's 650-8010. Yes, sorry. 805-650-8010. Yes. That's right. Okay. Yeah. So that is the non-emergency line. That storefront is no longer there. The one that was off of Garden. I don't know the whole reason, and I don't want to speak offhand, but we ended up moving it over to City Hall, and it's more just an office space for us to do work. So back in the day, I'll use that phrase. All those were staffed with volunteers, or there'd be a police officer in there. Most cities honestly have kind of gone away from that, and the reason being is just a manning issue. It's hard to get police officers nowadays. So it's either you're going to have a beat on the cop, or you're going to have a beat sitting, or a cop sitting in a storefront. So we kind of had to do that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The question was from our vice chair whether our president was pursuing that property now. And then the chair responded that he inquired about it for the people on Zoom.
Anyway. All right. Well, thank you guys. Have a good night.
All right. Yeah. And I know I wasn't leading by example there for a quick second, but just a friendly reminder, if we could wait till I know it takes just a few more seconds, wait till the mic gets to you for questions so we can have the Zoom people here and also for our YouTube recording for those that watch this afterward. So next up, we have our City of Ventura updates. Who wants to go first? Councilmember Campos, Alejandra? Councilmember Campos, all right.
Thank you, Chair Marco. So regarding the city, we're at a quiet week in between council meetings. We have the next meeting coming up on the 18th, and in March we'll meet on the 18th and the 25th. The meeting on the 18th has a couple of things that will be significant in the overall scheme of the city and also in our neighborhood. We've got some of the zoning of the general plan will come to us for approval. We have a building situation or a building site that a contractor wants to put in, which is over on Satakoy Avenue or on Wells Road, where we are just adjacent to Satakoy. And the Community Development Department rejected it and the Planning Commission rejected it. It's been appealed to City Council. I think it was rejected by those two previous bodies because it contains 3 fast food restaurants underneath in the business. And Wells Road is one of 3 major thoroughfare streets that we're trying to keep drive-through restaurants off of. So if you have feelings about that, that's a good meeting to come and speak to that issue. We're also doing our care policy, which is designed to protect a lot of different parts of our community that feel under attack at this time. The immigrant community, the LGBT community. I just heard now some attacks came on the disability community. We may be adding them, but we want to make sure that this policy allows every person in the city of Ventura not just to feel safe, but to be safe, to be able to continue your life and go out and about as normal. And so I'm hoping that some of you come and tell us your feelings on that. And, you know, it's still 13 days away, so you have plenty of time. The agenda will be out next Tuesday. And there's a lot of other things going on before the next meeting, the 15th, and I hope I'm not stealing any thunder from you, is the St. Patty's Day Parade, which no longer goes down the heart of Main Street like we're used to, but above Main Street moves from around Lincoln Drive down to First Street. And, you know, that's a big party, so everybody should be there. Even people from Santa Paula are welcome to come and celebrate. So, may I introduce Alejandra? Alejandra is one of our wonderful community information officers, and she always tells us the real meat that's going on in the city.
Hello, everybody again. Okay, so I have a few updates about special events and programs that we have going on. We have the Cultural Funding Grant Program. This funding is awarded annually to support Ventura-based nonprofit arts and cultural organizations. So these funds are unrestricted and may be used for organizational support, programming, and services. You can check out our website for any guidelines and criteria for the application process. We're also holding workshops where folks can get any questions answered And if you can't make it to the workshops, you can also connect with our team and make an appointment with them, and they can go through your questions. The workshops are going to be on March 6th and March 13th, and all this information is also on our website here. We have Gold Coast Transit District will be presenting at the Adult Center on March 18th. You can learn about affordable and convenient transportation services for seniors in Ventura, and the information is also on our website. We have a summer showcase at West Park. We're opening doors for an afternoon of family-friendly activities and information booths. You can explore our year-round offerings and register for summer classes and camps. Folks that will attend this event are encouraged to walk or bike, as parking is limited. And there's going to be kids activities, class demos, Zumba, music, and more. So you guys are totally encouraged to come and check it out. And then we would also like to invite the whole community to attend a meeting on Main Street Bridge Replacement Project on March 13th at the museum here in downtown Ventura. We'll be talking about all the different timelines and design process that's going to happen with the replacement of the bridge. And that is it from me. As always, I am a source to connect with our team, with the communications team, and with anything that you need. If you have any questions, if I don't have the answer, I'm happy to connect you to folks. And we obviously have our Councilmember Campos that is available. So that is it for me. Thanks, everybody. And yeah.
Thank you so much, Alejandra. Yes. I'm going to move that up from the agenda. Can you pull up the other slides? I don't have something on Belarus, but I'm also going to make that other CACC announcement as well. So yes, every first Friday, and most of the times our first Wednesday of the month meeting coincides with that. And so you can see art around the room here. And so this place is going to get packed on Friday, and you have the opportunity to, you know, check out the art, buy the art from local artists that have studios here. But First Friday is always a joy here on the West Side. So if you've never been there, I encourage you to go check that out. So it starts at 6, I believe. Normally it's like 6 to 9. So grab some dinner at a local restaurant and come on down to First Friday. Also, next slide. One of our sister organizations, the College Area Community Council, is doing a community gleaning. So if any of you have fruit, like fruit trees, and are able to donate to help fight food insecurity, go to the Ventura College campus between 8 a.m. and 12 p.m. To bring your excess fruit. The College Area Community Council sponsoring this event this Saturday, March 8th from 8 to 12. All right. Yes, you have a question.
I think something that Liz might not be able to say because conflict of interest or something, but there's a McDonald's proposed down on at the end of Stanley. And so the thing about the drive-through that they're considering on Wells at the City Council on the 18th has a relevance to us on the West Side, because we don't want a drive-through or a McDonald's. Many of us don't, next to our junior high school, our middle school. And so that's an opportunity for us to voice our thoughts on that. And then one other add-on for the First Friday is a wonderful event over at another wonderful arts location, Art City over on Dubers at 8 p.m. It's free. They do a 5 by 5 performing artists for 5 minutes on 5 little one acts. Those are really fun too. So make the rounds on the West Side on First Friday.
So Mark.
It's the same issue for zoning. What we're looking at on the 18th is different, but it will respond to the same question ultimately.
So when that agenda comes out, I think we can make sure to If you're not already on the city email list for agendas, might want to do that, but we'll also send it out on our newsletter list. So this is also a good reminder to, if you haven't signed in to be added to our mailing list, please do so. It's over there on the table. Okay, moving on. We were also supposed to get a school board update for Ventura Unified, but our trustee is running just a little bit late, so we're going to move that around later on the agenda. Next up, we have our treasurer's report from our treasurer, Zerbes. What do we got? Okay, you're up. I know I should have moved her around too, shouldn't I? I interrupted her eating. Yeah, let's get up to Kay.
Thank you. I'm from Ventura. I've been here since 1957. I've been on Ventura Avenue 66 years. And my husband used to work in this building many years ago. So I appreciate you guys being here last week, or last month, I should say. It feels like last week. I had 7 people here. You guys make 28. Yes. So in our treasury, we have $246.75. So anytime you want to donate, we appreciate it. And I don't have a joke for you today. Only because I came from the doctor's office straight here. I was there 4 hours. Yeah, well, that was a joke for me. So I had to hurry. So anyway, there is some tea back there if anybody's interested in coffee. And I did cut up the cake. And we have 2 birthdays. We have Pete. And we have, where's our other one? Here he is. So we had 2 birthdays today. God bless you. And many more. Thank you.
Thank you, Kay. Long time treasurer here, and actually seeing her wear her name tag reminded me that I left mine in my pocket, so I have to put that on after the next presentation. Next up, we have, oh, okay, can you pull that up really quick? 1 sec. So you'll notice there might be a slight discrepancy in the number that she said, just because we started adding March, but we try to show month end. So as of the end of February, the $246, and we had one of our recurring donations. So we thank everyone that's donating on a monthly basis, everyone that gives one time. Again, as Eric said, there's no membership fee, just a suggested donation. Give what you can. And yeah, so anything helps as we're trying to boost our treasury there. On to our Revite committee update. I'm going to bring up Ron. He has a couple things, Revite as well as another.
Thank you. We had a Zoom meeting on last Wednesday and discussing a number of projects. Now that we're in good graces with the state, we can collect money. So we're looking at networking to see what kind of grants and things we can get to start promoting gardens in our neighborhood here. The idea being to engage a bunch of people to put gardens in their yards, and then have garden gurus or abuelitas that know how to garden and can help guide newbie gardeners into producing food in their yards. The ultimate in resiliency is when transportation goes down, the money doesn't work anymore. You got food in your yard, you walk out, pick it, and prepare it and eat it. So we can grow an awful lot of food in our yards instead of growing grass and harvesting it, putting it in trash bags and sending off to the dump. We got movement on the west side here. The compressor station. We're in the blast zone. If that compressor station was to leak and explode catastrophically. And the people in our community have suffered with asthma and cancer and other ailments from breathing the so-called natural gas. Hey, it ain't natural. And it's got, this chemical in, so you can know that when it's leaking. So the process for CEQA, the permitting for projects that have an environmental impact is starting, and there will be a virtual scoping meeting this Tuesday night, the 11th, by Zoom, and I can get you a link. I have the printed out copy of it here. And so what we want is as many people who can join that Zoom call to join and give their input to the Public Utilities Commission that gets to monitor the process of certifying that that project is a good one or a bad one as far as the environment concerned. There's a lot of different perspectives. Everybody has, you know, a different view. So there's the health issues, the safety issues. This has been a redlined community. That's why it was built here, because the city authorities considered the people who live here as disposable. And so we can put all of our dirty industry on this side of town. We don't accept that anymore. We have agency. And so it's not appropriate here. There's issues as far as air quality, that in normal operation, sometimes they vent the natural gas into the air. And on the west side, people have noticed this kind of skunk-like or sewer-like smell at different times, and people would have trouble with their asthma and so on. There's potential problems as far as the venting and escape gases. There's potential danger of an explosion. And so there is a couple of alternative sites that have been proposed for resiting that compressor station out where there's less people around. Something like a mile north of its current location is one of them. There's the question of need that we as a city are working on electrifying everything, so that the plan is to minimize our use of natural gas, so that their projection of needing more supply of natural gas is not appropriate. And some of the alternatives were, you know, too discrete, that they should have more general alternatives, and exploring alternate technologies, one of which would be to make the compressor station all electric, and so would minimize the carbon footprint of it. And so there will, we are the West Side Community Clean Air Coalition is petitioning the CPUC to move back the date. We only got like a week and a half notice that this was happening. And so there will be, if it will be held on Tuesday, there will be a couple of alternate watch sites where you can go and watch it. One of the sites will have a number of Spanish-speaking people, so you can feel at home. And there's some concern that we have some housing projects, so the housing department, we're looking at getting those people, having those people give input. And so this is the start of the process. We can provide input up to the 31st of this month. And so we are looking for community groups to sign on to a letter to send to the PUC, and then for individuals to pipe up and give their input to the CPUC. I have more information and a link for the Zoom meeting if you're interested. Over here we have some seeds available that you can take to plant in your garden. Hay semillas para su jardín aquí. Gracias. And have information about how, how to plant them and grow them, and we have some information in English and Spanish on building habitat in your garden to enhance the environment and help with biological control. I think that's it. Okay, so appreciate your time. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ron. Yes, happy birthday. We're going to move on to our Secretary, Pete Freeman, who in his other hat is a part of the General Plan Advisory Committee. And, go ahead, Pete, take it.
Thank you, everybody. I've honestly given up on birthdays. I don't need any more. But thank you. So just a quick update on the general plan schedule and what's going on. And for those who don't know, the general plan is what will guide the city for the next 25 years on development, where things will go, safety, trying to think of transportation and a few other elements. But there was a meeting last night. We didn't find out till Friday, so we couldn't get it out to you. But on March 18th, as Liz said, City Council will be looking at the land use element. That kind of tells what can be built where in the city and what kind of businesses and things can go in. Then April to July, oh wait, where is it? Oh, early April, the draft general plan will be released to the public. So if you really want some interesting reading, that'll be out. These are all available. It will be available on the Plan Ventura website. So it's planventura.com. April through July is general plan public comment. So once you read that, you can comment on it. April 9th will be objective design standards open house at the community room at City Hall at 6 o'clock. And this will be trying to come up with standards and architectural standards for the city, so we can kind of get a more uniform look in the city and not be so eclectic as we tend to say. And then April 30th, we have our next GPAC meeting at City Hall, and the GPAC will be going over the draft general plan, discussing it. So if anybody is interested in those, I've got a bunch of dates here, but if you're interested, just let me know and I can fill you in more. Also, I've been working and communicating with the Public Works Department in the city on some of the drains that we have, especially the ones that cut through the sidewalks. Looks like Layton, East Lewis, and Simpson to be the worst, and they get clogged up with debris and trash, and they don't drain, so the intersections flood. So been talking to the city. They're going to start looking at a more permanent solution to get those to work better, because a lot of them, like the one at Layton that's right in front of the school, kids got to walk through that, 6 inches of water. East Lewis, it floods the laundromat. Simpson, it goes right up to the door of the library when they don't work. So they're working on it. I went by there today. I don't know if they did anything, but they seem to be working better today. So hopefully they're getting out there just from me pestering them. And then lastly, for the McDonald's, just an FYI, I've been in touch, keep in touch with the planner from the city on that. They just sent a letter back to McDonald's saying that they need more information. So currently there's nothing really going on with that, but we will keep you up to date when there is. And that's it. Any questions? Nope. Okay. Oh. Sorry, I didn't hear. Okay, well, In-N-Out Burger hasn't applied to go there, so McDonald's has. Pardon? Okay, we'll pass it on. Well, okay, duly noted. Gotcha. Anybody else? Any other questions?
This guy here has, I think he enjoys it. He goes to so many planning meetings and represents west side and he comes back and digests it. So we have a handle on what's going on. Pete, thank you for all your diligence on that. This year-long process and general plan is wrapping up now. Is that in your final process?
It's been going for 4 years and it should be coming to a conclusion in the fall is the best way to put it. I don't want to give you exact date because it's going to not be the exact date. But thank you for that. I think I'm getting I'm going to ask Alejandro if I can get a chair named for me or reserved down there. Thanks. Anybody else?
Guys can't say enough how much we appreciate Pete, especially spending his birthday here with us, which, Cat's already out of the bag. I know he didn't want me to say it, but you know what? You guys already know. So happy birthday, Pete. Happy birthday, Ron. In the last 30 seconds, I'm going to get our communications chair to give a WCDC update for her other hat, and then we're going to presentations. We're still sort of on time, even if it doesn't seem like we are. Welcome, Helen.
I walk around as fast as I could. So on tomorrow, there will be a workshop, and it's like a wealth advisors workshop just across the way at American Pacific Mortgage. Okay, great. So it starts at 5:30. There will have a couple speakers talking about equity and specifically geared towards first-time homeowners. So that will be happening tomorrow. We did share it in our emails. I just wanted to share that with you guys today. I believe you can still register, so there is a QR code there. If anyone's interested, go ahead and pass the information along. There's also a free neighborhood cleanup event. I call it Dumpster Day. I think the official name is like neighborhood cleanup event, but this is the day where we open up in the morning that large empty property on Bellway, and we bring like 7 gigantic Harrison trash. I don't have a better word other than vessel. And then it's basically you can drop off as much trash as you want. Had people bring in gigantic U-Hauls and they're remodeling their house and they give us all their trash and we take it. So it's first come, first serve. There was a pickup list and a phone number you can text, pick up your trash. I will look into that when I run back there and let you know if that's available and give you the phone number if anyone's interested. But that is a free resource available to the community happening Saturday. We also have the flyer in Spanish. Okay, that is it for me, I believe, unless I'm missing something. Yes. Oh, yes. So there will be accepting donations for the Boys and Girls Club as well. So if you have stuff you'd like to donate, they'll take donations and then just regular rubbish. That we also do e-waste. And then if you have tires, we'll take them. But usually American Tire is the place to go. The only thing is has waste. Oh yeah, there's also a list on the flyer as well. We don't collect has waste, the city does. I believe there's a monthly event that comes up. You have to reserve your spot for that one though and set an appointment. But we can give you additional information on that as well. That sounds like has waste to me, so you may have to book an appointment with the city. Yeah, but I can give you the list. Yeah, it is.
Batteries.
Yeah, has waste, yeah. Oh, okay, there you go. Any other questions back there? It was about light bulbs and paint, and it was oh yep, go ahead, Councilman.
Okay, just an answer. Batteries can be dropped at any of the county libraries. So on the avenue, you can go right in the front door of the Ventura Avenue Library, Monday through Thursday, 12 to 6, or Saturday, 10 to 6, or 10 to 5. Right inside the door, they have a receptacle for batteries.
And I also just noticed that that wonderful phone number is here, so no need for me to research it. It is here. Go ahead and text them and they'll pick up your trash. Other questions? Gonna fade into the background if there aren't any. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. You know what? As we're doing all the thinking, just 10 seconds. Helen, as our communications chair, has done such an amazing job. I mean, if you get the MailChimp, and honestly, if you're not and you're going to start getting it, you see all the lists of events that she's going and trying to find to make sure that we are as well informed as possible about all the stuff happening. At some point, we're probably gonna have to do a calendar, but for now, she puts in all the time for communications, be it on the email, be it on Facebook or Instagram. So that helps with our marketing and trying to grow the organization. So just want to give Helen a round of applause.
Thank you, Chair Cuevas and everybody. I appreciate it.
All right, now we're going to get into if you thought that was a meaty part of the meeting, we have two great presentations tonight. We're going to start off with our guest, Vanessa Frank, who I know I'm not supposed to pick favorites, but who is one of my new favorite people that I met in the last month. And she has a great presentation for us tonight. And I'll let her introduce herself as we pull up the slide and let her get up here. So let's give a round of applause for Vanessa.
Thanks, Marco. Hi, I'm Vanessa Frank. And is there my slideshow? Okay. So as I said, I am a very loyal Venturan, and as only a loyal Venturan would, I would say I'm not from the west side. I'm from Midtown. I used to live by Buena High, so I'm like visiting your fair city tonight. Marco invited me to do this presentation hopefully very quickly on immigration and advocacy because I know and love the Avenue. I think this is a community that would be interested in not just knowing what's going on in immigration, but also advocating and supporting. I wanted to share this with our neighborhood. So this is sort of a quick primer on immigration. Obviously, immigration is super coming up a lot these days. The newly elected president, again, re-elected president, he has campaigned since his initial campaign in 2015 against immigration, taking people who are not U.S. citizens out of the country and then prohibiting more people from coming in. That's been just a clearly stated purpose of his since forever. So we just need to understand that. It's a fact. That's what he campaigned on. That's how he was reelected. It's one of his major campaign platforms. The stuff with USAID that's going on, that wasn't really in the campaign, but immigration and ending immigration and getting people who are not U.S. citizens out of the United States, that was part of the campaign. So it's quite explicit, and it's not a partisan thing to say. How you might feel about that is partisan, but the fact that that is the statement is just a fact. So I think it's important. Oh, don't go so fast. Go back. I think it's important for us to understand, well, what are we talking about? What is immigration and why should we care? So I think it's important to know how people are here unlawfully. And so there are many ways that people get here unlawfully. They may come on a lawful visa, which then expires, and they overstay is the term. They overstay the visa. Or they may commit fraud. Let's be real. People commit fraud. It's a thing. And then also they may enter, I guess illegally or through irregular means, right? Secretly, stealthily, carefully, and not get caught. So those are the three ways that people can get here. Okay. And now you can go to the next slide. Thank you. I don't know who is doing my slides. Okay. Thank you. Like just signaling somebody somewhere. Okay. Thank you. So what does it mean once you're here unlawfully? It means that you don't have a right to be here in the United States fundamentally. So that means that if you're here out of status, that means you don't have status, you don't have permission to be in this country at all. And so just on that basis alone, you can be detained and processed to be removed. It means people who are here unlawfully have no access to federal benefit programs. It's Medicare, Social Security, federal financial aid for college. FEMA comes up a lot in our area with fires and floods and things. So that's something to keep in mind. People aren't eligible for those FEMA grants and support. They also, if they leave, they obviously, you can't come back in. If you come in on a lawful visa, but you overstayed, usually when you leave, the systems will catch that and they'll say, oh, whoops. The last time we let you in, you kind of stayed too long, so we're not going to let you in again. And obviously, if you never had a visa, you're not supposed to re-enter without a visa. You're never supposed to come in without a visa. So if you did that before and you leave and you try to come back, the border is constantly over the last 40 years or so just gotten harder and harder to cross physically. There's much more surveillance. There is much more ways of people being detained, and there's a lot of human trafficking happening. So it's become much more physically dangerous and difficult to actually cross by irregular means. People who are unlawfully present can't be lawfully employed. They don't have work permits. They can't get a real ID. They are, they don't have documents. That's the point. And of course, people who are undocumented or out of lawful status are still subject to the same criminal and civil laws. They still pay state, local, and federal taxes. They still pay sales tax. A lot of folks do use fake documents to work, and so they're actually getting their FICA, they're having their Social Security and Medicare withheld from that pay stub, and they'll never be able to get that back because you can't get Social Security benefits. But it is very important, and I have had people kind of suggest to me like, oh, well, laws just don't apply to undocumented people. And I think that's very interesting because I have not had that experience where somebody might be caught robbing a bank and the cops come in. Did the police officer leave already? But we could check with him. If he were to see somebody robbing a bank, would he say, and you said, oh, but I don't have papers. Would the police officer say, oh, I'm so sorry, ma'am, please go ahead. There's another bank down the court. Like, that's not what happens, right? So people are still subject to regular, all the criminal laws that happen. But what happens when you're out of status is you're subject to regular criminal laws, which we have agreed to as a society, and we can have that conversation separately. But once you've done your time for the criminal thing, you are also then subject to the additional penalty of if you, obviously, if you have no status, you've now been identified and are much more easily found by ICE. And people who even have lawful status but are not yet U.S. citizens can have that status revoked and they can be kicked out. So that's the experience of being unlawfully present. Next slide, thank you. This is a helpful chart that we've put together over the years just to kind of lay out sort of the rights and opportunities that U.S. citizens have versus lawful permanent residents. A lawful permanent resident is a person who's a resident. They have a green card. So you hear people talk about green cards. That's what that is. We hear DACA, Dreamers, Dream Act people. The Dream Act actually is a totally different thing than DACA. Over the years, they've kind of blended into one thing in our minds, but they actually are totally separate programs. DACA is a program that continues, though the Trump administration, once again, did campaign on finally ending it. So stay tuned. The Dream Act has never been passed as law, federal law. So that doesn't exist. It's just a proposed law that has come up for the past 25 years and has never been passed. And then undocumented people. So you can see the little red X is like all the goodies that you get. So again, it's just like a nice visual of like what people have access to and don't, just so you can kind of see it. Because I think in the popular media, we often hear like, oh, these, people come and they just have all these goodies. No. Next. Again, here's another visual of like different kinds. And I think a lot of times we also get caught in the media. It's sort of like you sort of think everybody in this country is either a citizen or they're undocumented. And there's like two kinds of people, and it's not. There's U.S. citizens who have all the goodies. We saw all the X's going down the column. And then there's undocumented people who have like one X, which is public school education. And then in between, in the little chart that I had, you saw like DACA folks and green card people, but there's like also people who come on temporary work permits. There are people who come for Fashion Week. There are people who come to go to Disneyland. Those are tourists. There are people who come and do 2 semesters at Ventura College. It's a student visa. There are all kinds of lawful statuses in the United States. And so there are many ways that people can be present legally in the United States, but still not be citizens. And so we have to keep that in mind. And it's not so easy to know who is a citizen. And if they're not a U.S. citizen, get them out of here. Like, not so much, because there are so many people that are in this variation and this sort of ebb and flow. And, Elon Musk himself came on a student visa. that was able to convert into a temporary work visa. At some point, he was able to get a green card. Now he's a U.S. citizen, right? So we see this all the time in immigration land. People come on one status, they change, maybe they leave, they come back on something else, they stay, they convert, da da da. There's all these different little statuses, but each one brings with it its own rules about how long you can stay, whether you can work, whether you can go to school, because if you come on a work visa, you're not supposed to go to school. But if you come on a student visa, you're not supposed to work. Each status has its own rules about, can you bring your spouse? I get a student visa. Does that mean my spouse can get a student visa? Can I bring my kids? Depends. So there's all these different little shades. So you'll see people who are legally here because their parent has one of these kind of temporary work visas. And so the kids are allowed to be students, but they're not allowed to work because only the parent has the work visa. Like there's all these different funny little rules that go with each one of these statuses. So it's really important to keep that in mind when we have that discussion. It's a lot more complicated than it would seem when you just hear like, oh, you know, America for Americans and everybody else out. Like, well, you know, we've got all these people and they're doing valuable things. Next slide, thank you. So how do people come in legally? Well, I just told you, there's a bunch of visas. So here, this is what a visa looks like. And like I just said, each visa has its different rules about how long you can stay, whether you're allowed to work, whether you're allowed to study, and whether you're allowed to bring your family members and how long they can stay and whether they can work or study and do all these things. Next. Possible ways to get a green card. So green card is kind of like what people really want until they get a green card and then they want to become citizens. But a green card, when you have a green card, it allows you to work, to study, to live here indefinitely. And your day-to-day life kind of feels like you're a U.S. citizen. If we remember that chart, basically green cards get all the goodies that citizens do, except for a few key ones. No jury service. Green card people are not allowed to be juries. They're not allowed to work for the TSA. That was a George W. Bush thing. Okay. Green card people are not allowed to vote. That's important. And green card people are still eligible or still subject to deportation. They commit certain crimes. There's no necessarily rule of like, oh, you've had a green card so long, now we can't deport you anymore. No. That's called citizenship. If you've had a green card for a certain amount of time, apply for citizenship. But until you're a U.S. citizen, yes, if you commit certain crimes or if you've committed other violations, you can lose that green card. So it is so the green card, though, for most people on most days, it's pretty much like we're set. You can live in the United States indefinitely. So there are 4 ways to get one. You have a family member, a parent, a spouse, a child in some cases, or a sibling who's a U.S. citizen, or maybe a parent or a spouse who's a permanent resident. Those people can get you a green card. That's it. Cousins can't do cousins, grandparents, grandchildren, aunts and nephews. No. Parents, spouses, children, siblings of U.S. citizens, children and spouses of permanent residents can get green cards. Or you can get a green card through employment. That's for people who can be their employer. They already have an employer who demonstrates a need for this person to be in the country. There's nobody else who can do this job at a fair wage. So no fair advertising. We need an engineer who can work for $8 an hour. Like, oh, we can't find him. We have to immigrate somebody. No. You have to advertise at a regular wage and advertise a real job at a regular wage and demonstrate that nobody around here can do that job. And that's why we need to immigrate this person. Fun fact, once you've worked here without work permission, it's very difficult, if not impossible, to have an employer get you the green card because you kind of blew it, right? So there are a lot of people that get blocked up, and we're hearing that so much these days of employers that are saying, but my favorite employees don't have papers. Can I do something for them? Usually not, especially not the guy that did employ them without authorization, then to turn around and be like, oh, can I just get it? No, you can't. And these are all laws that human beings have made. You guys know this. You're the West Side Community. Like, where do laws come from? Hello, US citizens. That's where the laws come from. We vote. We vote for people. We vote for people who are going to make decisions. People like Liz. What's she doing? Is she helping? Is she advocating? Is she representing our values? Right? We voted for, well, I mean, again, y'all voted for her. We vote for our city council person. We vote for our county supervisor. We vote for our state legislators. We vote for our senators, our representatives, and our president. We vote for these people because they will express our values. And they will pass laws that will help us. So when we vote for somebody who says, I want to deport all the immigrants and I want to block everybody from coming, those are the values that that person says, oh, the people are with me on that. So I'm going to do that. So it's really important when we vote. That's where these rules come from. They weren't sort of handed down or handed up. It might have been handed up. So there's two other ways to get a green card. Good luck. This is from a John Oliver sketch, which is very funny, but extremely accurate. There's good luck. And good luck is the diversity visa, which George H.W. Bush, did I say that right? George, is his name George H.W.? Yeah, it sounded weird all of a sudden. George H.W. Bush, the dad, in the 90s, 1990, he signed into law the diversity visa, which was just a lottery. And people just enter their name and country and date of birth into a system, and they run a lottery. And if their name comes up, they subject themselves to a background check and they get a green card. That's only for countries that have, over a certain recent period of time, very low numbers of people coming to the United States. So countries that already send us many immigrants are not, people from those countries can't even join the lottery, can't even try. But to keep diversity, right? To have immigrants, to have this be a nation of people from all over the world, the diversity visa. So that's good luck. And then the final way to get a green card is bad luck. And that's the asylum system, which was bad luck because it means that you're fleeing your home country for your life. There's a very serious systemic threat against you and your family, which is bad luck. Additionally, it's bad luck because applying for asylum in this country is really awful. So it's a second bad luck. That's not what he was referring to, but it is bad luck that you have to apply for asylum right now. It's very, very difficult. It's a really strenuous process. And there's a lot more detail to it than what we get when we generally hear about it. So we'll move on. Oh yeah, this is fun. This is my little image. This picture is like 15 years old or 20 years old almost. But it's this fun little thing. You can't really see it on a slideshow, but it's from Reason magazine from October 2008. If you want to Google it, Reason magazine in October of 2008. And it's generally, it's actually held up over the last 20 years, which is saying something in and of itself, that the process has not changed since 2008. You can see the guy, this is actually a guy kind of sitting, looking really sad. And that's his beard, because it's representing how old he is, like how long it took him. So here's our guy trying to get his papers, but by the time he gets there, he's like really, really old, because it takes 15 or 20 years for the process to complete itself. And this little image shows you on the top, family-based. As I said, the blues is somebody from another country whose family member wants to bring them. The green is somebody who has a green card, permanent resident wants to bring them. And then the little brown ones are employment-based. But any way you slice it, it's going to take a really long time, unless you're David Beckham or Lionel Messi, which is what is represented by our friend here. If you're a major, soccer player, it's much faster. Next. Or the gold visa. Yeah, the gold visa is not on here. Yes, it's always, somehow if you have multiple millions of dollars, usually it'll work out for you. Yeah, and until now, until the gold visa, until now, well, yeah, I mean, I think until now, we haven't really had a process where if people made a contribution to the actual president, they would be able to get immigration status. In the past, there are fees to acquire immigration papers, filing fees. Immigration applications are adjudicated by immigration service officers. All of those people are paid by the immigration fees, not by tax dollars. They are paid by the fees themselves. So when people do pay fees for their immigration paperwork, it is to pay the workers who are adjudicating sort of a self-contained system. But we'll see in the next few years, there's a little escape valve, I think, for potentially the president to get a little piece of that too. That's never been our custom in this country as a democracy, to pay off the president. So again, election consequences. The requirements for citizenship, you need to be a permanent resident. You have to have a green card in your hand. You need to be over 18. You need to have that green card usually for 5 years. There are some exceptions. In the case that you're married to and living with a U.S. citizen, it's only 3 years. If you join the armed forces as a permanent resident, you can get your U.S. citizenship in boot camp. There's a process for that. The citizenship test, you need to be able to demonstrate that you can read, write, and speak English. You have to pass a test on U.S. history and civics. It's a lot of fun. And you have to demonstrate good moral character, which usually means that is that criminal background check. Once again, taxes, child support. Are you up to date on these things? There could be other little concerns that are kind of included in good moral character, but generally kind of tend to look at people's criminal record or tax records or financial things. Okay, next. Oh, yes. I think it's really important to think about why, when we elect leaders, to think about our reasons of why we care about immigration in this country, and migration, their economic, demographic, humanitarian, et cetera, reasons, to think about it, and to include immigrants. I was reflecting as I sit here, a lot of the reason that I do immigration law is to encourage more people to be in rooms like this. And it's sort of my operating assumption that a lot of people who don't have legal status won't come to this meeting, just this meeting about community gardens and should we have a McDonald's up the street or should it be an In-N-Out or should it be something else? Just do we need a crosswalk out there? Just these little decisions that we make about our own little community. A lot of people are too afraid to come out because of their immigration status. And I think it makes us all poorer. There are a lot of abuelitas who have ideas about gardening, but we're not going to meet them because they're afraid. They're undocumented, or they live with somebody undocumented. And so they might not come out, and we're missing all this great wisdom. We could be learning about plants and medicines and having a couple more voices speak about getting a good restaurant in town, home cooks, all these things. So I think that's my personal commitment to immigration rights, because if people don't feel they don't feel like they even are allowed to be here, they're not going to come to even this and just be a part of their neighborhood community, much less our broader community. And we're all poorer. All of us are poorer for that. And so there are other reasons, and we can get into all those mercenary reasons. There are reasons that we should do it, but primarily I think that's the fundamental reason, just from a basic small d democracy idea of the people who live here should feel comfortable participating and engaging with our community. Yeah, people are here. They're doing the thing, right? They're living here and sweeping the street and sending the kids to school and paying taxes and doing all the stuff. They're part of the community. Next slide. Okay. My slide that's very strange. Okay. It looked fine the other day. It's so strange. It got weird. It magically got weird. Okay. Doesn't matter. There are many ways to get involved. There are many ways to volunteer. These are some of them, and you can take a picture with your phone. But I actually brought live flyers because, community meeting. You can't do a community meeting without flyers. So I'll just, with the remaining minute, tell you about Swap Meet Justice, which is the event we hold at Oxnard College. Yeah, thank you. Swap Meet Justice, we do at Oxnard College on the last Sunday of every month, except in May because of Memorial Day. We do it on the 18th. But it's the last Sunday of every month at Oxnard College, and it's a community space. So we have lawyers, doctors, social workers. We've got county workers, private attorneys, private doctors, nonprofit agencies like MyCop, like El Concilio, The DA's office is out there with victims assistance. The public defender's office is out there doing expungements. One of the West Side's leading lawyers goes out most Sundays as part of the PD's office and helps people clear their records. So we have all kinds of services, and the fun of Swap Meet Justice is that everybody's out there and collaborating with each other. So for example, with the public defender's office, a lot of times people are concerned to apply for citizenship because maybe they have an old arrest that's like 30 years old, and they did the thing and they paid it off and they're fine. They have their green card and the kids are in college and all the things, but they're still anxious about the citizenship. So right there at Swap Meet Justice, we can walk them right over to the public defender's office and look at their record, right there. And we have experts from the PD's office that can say, you know what, this really is a problem. Let me try and fix it for you. Or, you know what, this is no problem at all. It's been cleared and you're good to go. And then we go right back over here with a high school student, or maybe one of you guys as a volunteer, and we fill out the citizenship application right there on the spot. And so we're trying to do that actual work right there Sundays at the swap meet. So we invite you. That's a great way to get involved. No experience necessary, no language skills necessary. If you do speak another language, that's great. Usually Spanish or Mixteco or Tagalog or Japanese would be helpful. We do have volunteers who come out regularly. They also speak Polish. We haven't needed Polish yet, but when we do, we're ready. So that's Swap Meet Justice. Is that a slide? Is there a Swap Meet Justice slide? I don't think so. Oh, it is. Yay! Look at me. I do know. Okay. So that's the colorful slide. That's a better slide than the thing I handed out to you guys. But that's Swap Meet Justice. We just did a bunch of people's taxes 2 Sundays ago at the February Swap Meet Justice. We were doing people's taxes for free and helping them get their individual taxpayer ID numbers, ITINs, all kinds of stuff. We get people's child support stuff squared away, all kinds of real services happening at the swap meet. The other opportunity to volunteer, get involved, is the 805 Immigrant Rapid Response Network. We're looking for folks who can take calls, who have eyes on the ground. If you're kind of one of those people that's just sort of in the neighborhood all the time and available, so that if somebody saw something that looks a little suspicious, we're training people to go out as legal observers. And somebody might be driving by and say, I saw a weird truck, and they call the rapid response line. We need somebody to take that phone call and say, okay, thanks. Where did you see it? Oh, I saw it at give me one. Ramona and Ventura. I saw, I think it's an ice truck or something. And we say, well, thanks so much for, giving us a call. We'll look into it. So I take that call, and then I'm going to pick on my friend. I call Sayward, and I'm like, hey, Sayward, you're right around there, right? Are you working from home today? Yeah, I am. Hey, can you go check out, because they're part of the Rapid Response Network, not just because they're my friend. They've already been trained. And as part of the Rapid Response Network, they've already been trained to be a legal observer. So I say, hey, legal observer, can you run out real quick to your neighborhood and see what's up? And Sayward will go out maybe with a camera and a notepad and just record, not interfere. Don't interfere with law enforcement, but just record and say, yep, indeed, there's this van. I see what's happening, reports back to base. And then we get a message out to the broader community. Yes, in fact, there was an ICE vehicle at the corner of Ramona and Ventura this afternoon at 4:46. And we've confirmed that they detained somebody, or actually it was a white van. It was very suspicious. It was a plumber. We're all good. So that's what we're trying to do with the Rapid Response Network, is kind of get that information out. So please, you can click and get in and be on the Rapid Response Network and start getting those alerts. This one, this Rapid Response Network is Ventura, Santa Barbara, and SLO counties, all 3 counties. You'll start getting alerts for all 3 counties because people work or live all over the place. But if you volunteered, you would only have to deal with your we would not make you run up to Santa Maria to confirm a potential ICE sighting. We would have you go in your local neighborhood. And we could really use the help on the avenue, and have eyes and ears on the avenue watching out for stuff. Okay, so thank you guys so much for the time, and I can answer a couple questions before I go.
Does anyone have any questions? We have time for 2, maybe 3. No? Wow. Easy as that. All right. Thank you, Vanessa.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you at the swap meet. Forget.
Oh, yes, take a register to vote form. All right, moving right along into our next presentation. I'm waiting very patiently. Peter's still online, hopefully. We're going to pull up his presentation slides while I bring up Pat Brown and also Sheila, if she wants to come up. They're going to go over kitchens in the home, micro enterprise home kitchen operations, or MAKO for short. I'll let them go ahead and introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Pat Brown. I'm from Camarillo, and Sheila I've met through the auspices of Ron. I'm going to let Peter Ruddick speak. He is our state advocate and policy guru for a lot of things for resiliency. Look, I can't even list all of them. It's just going through my head. But why don't I go ahead and just let Peter speak first, and he can follow the slides. And then afterwards, we can say our piece as well. Is that okay? Peter, are you on?
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me in the room? Someone let me know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you, Peter.
Excellent. Well, I wish I could be in the room with you. I am calling you from my home in Merced County. I know quite a few people in the room. I've been to the last two Heirloom Expos and met the sustainable food people at the Eco Farm Conference and elsewhere around the state. Because as Pat was saying, I am an advocate for local and sustainable food. And I won't try to list the number of different local and sustainable foods I work on because I want to respect your time. We're going to talk about MICO, which is the Micro Enterprise Home Kitchen Operations. So if somebody could put up the next slide, I guess there we go. I'll say next when we're ready. Give you a little bit of history of the MICO and what it is. I've actually been involved in all of these laws. The MICO is the second homemade food law that California has passed. Cottage food is in its 13th year. It is shelf-stable food, things like breads and jams. The MICO is often referred to as a home restaurant. It is meals. Meals aren't terribly well defined, but they are served on the day they are made. Some foods could be both cottage food and MICO, and it would depend on which rules you were going to follow. Cottage food can go to a farmer's market. MICO can't. MICO can do things that cottage food can't. So MICO was passed in 2019. We were given an amendment, we had to take it, that counties were able to opt in when they were ready. It has been a slow-moving train. There are actually 4 cities that have their own health departments that have to opt in independently. Of the 62 jurisdictions, we now have 19 that have opted in after 6 years. It's good to work on other things because we're having this conversation. I wouldn't expect Ventura to adopt it in this calendar year. You never know. Things move fast. I am glad we're moving. Next slide, please. All right. So what is a MICO or a home restaurant? You can cook food at home for sale or for donation. Donations are often treated as sales. People don't realize that. You can have people eat in your home as a restaurant. You can teach classes. You can have them pick it up. You can deliver. There are limits on delivery services you can use. But you are a small restaurant in many ways. Next, please. You have limits. These limits are important from the health department's point of view for food safety. I agree with them mostly. We could get into some differences of opinion. That's probably not important at the moment. They're also good for keeping you from being a nuisance. I'm going to talk a little bit more about those things in a couple of minutes. That you are a small business. You shouldn't be a nuisance in your neighborhood, and you shouldn't be a food safety issue. And so that is built into the law. Next, please. All right. I have been told by people, oh, you can't do this, it's unregulated. It's actually fairly well regulated. You need to get a permit from the health department, which includes a kitchen inspection. You need to update that annually. They check your kitchen. Some people don't like having inspectors in their house. Well, then they can't be amico. You also need a business license generally. A few small cities don't do business licenses, and some unincorporated counties don't need business licenses. You need to get a seller's permit from the state so they can track taxes. Even if what you make isn't taxable, you need to report that. You need to take a one-day food manager's course, and that goes to the food safety. Mostly common sense, but it's a good thing to take. And if you're a renter, you're allowed to do this as long as your landlord approves. We would actually like the renters to have more sovereignty. This is a big issue with a lot of resistance. If the landlord thinks you're a nuisance, if you're in a building with a lot of units, you can potentially be a nuisance. At the moment, you need landlord's approval if you're a renter. Okay, next, please. All right, so when you're operating Amico, you want to be a good neighbor. You don't want to make too much noise. You don't want to make too many smells. You don't want to make too much garbage. I actually think that there's more potential for problem in upsetting your neighbors than there is in giving somebody food poisoning. We care very much about both. We don't want them to happen, but we want our small businesses, our home businesses, to be good neighbors and safe businesses. I have a longer version of this with a lot more details. When Ventura County opts in, I will offer it to anybody who wants to know more details, who's looking to become Amico. For now, it's good to know at the high level that the county cares about this, the cities care about it, and we care about it too. Next, please. All right. So, as I said, there are 19 jurisdictions, 18 counties in the city of Berkeley. City of Long Beach is getting close, I think and hope, and we're beginning an exploration. It has been a slow roll in. After 6 years and 2 months, there are not yet even 1,000 permitted Micos, although we're getting close, and that's not a bad number. I didn't put this on the slide. It's only an estimate. There are 50,000 home restaurants without permits. That is our estimate. There have been over 1 million permitted meals. People who are a little bit worried about food poisoning, and every time a new county opts in, the health departments check this. There has only been one food poisoning case in those 1 million meals, which is a lot better than the average in this country for any kind of food business. And there have been relatively few nuisance complaints, because I'm not the only one telling people to be not to be nuisances. The health departments are, other advocates are. People worry about this. Each county that opts in is going to worry about it. We've occasionally had a county opt in, more than occasionally. A good fraction of them have opted in. 2 years, we'll see if it works. Many of them make it permanent before the 2 years is up. Okay, next slide, please. All right, so why we're here tonight and what we need to do. The county or the body that has an environmental health department, which in Ventura is the county, needs to adopt the law, usually through an ordinance. So the Board of Supervisors, which has looked at this and so far decided not to opt in, will need to look at it again. Majority of the supervisors will have to opt in. They'll probably want to write an ordinance. And so our ultimate goal is to go to the board, get them to write that ordinance. But we need to build momentum. We need to get support. We need support from individuals. And we have a letter that people can sign on to. A few people in the room have signed on to. They'll be talking to you next. And we need support from communities like Westside, and especially from city councils, the city of Ventura, the city of Ojai. A number of them need to say they want it. A number of them are on record from 2020 saying they don't want it. There were no advocates in the room, and I don't believe they got the full story. So our goal will be to go back to those cities. So last slide, please. One more, next slide. There you go. So if you want to know more, you can talk to Pat and Sheila, who are going to tell you more in a second. You can take a photo of this and you can reach out to me. We have a Facebook group where we're giving information. You can ask questions. You can learn about other potential meetings. If this interests you, you can and should be involved. You need your voice. I'm going to stop there and let the folks in the room talk, and I'll stay online and we'll answer questions when they've had their turn.
Thank you. Thank you for staying with us and listening to this. I'm here because I know the value of resiliency. Back in during the pandemic, there were so many Michelin star chefs that were basically couldn't work because we were locked down, but they could have worked out of their homes. So all of this entire food industry that we have was put on hold when it really could have been more resilient by just transferring into our homes at that point. Now, I know the logistics of that sounds a lot harder than it really is, but I also know that in CERT training with community emergency response training, which you've probably heard of, you need to shelter in place. We need to shelter in our neighborhoods, and it's our neighborhoods that sustain us. And so if we have like 30 different Mikos inside your neighborhood west side, then we're talking about, well, who needs a McDonald's? Because now you've got home cooked food going to your students instead of the McDonald's. So there's a really good reasons to do all of this. And that's the reason why I'm doing it. I'm the county lead. Feel free to connect with me. Sheila has opted to be your local lead, to connect with her first, and I'll turn it over to her.
It's great to be back. I was away for a couple of months. Some of you know I travel around America, and I still have a home in Italy. So my experience while living abroad was actually my inspiration to start my company, which is 8 years here in Ventura. And what we do is seek out wines and olive oils that really express the place where they're from. Products that you can't find anywhere else, like farm to table, farm to glass. And in fact, I was here exactly a year ago telling you all about a permit request I put forth to the city to have a tasting room in the back of my property, which is right in front here. So it's still kind of stuck in bureaucracy, but that's fine. But once I heard about this initiative, I felt it really resonated with the wonderful experiences that I've had in my life in terms of being exposed to different cultures and cuisines and traditions, and learning about them, hearing the stories about them, and I think that this is a great way for really anybody, whether you're an immigrant or just a professional chef, even as Pat had mentioned, to be able to share your talents and your passion, and to let others really enjoy and taste different types of foods. And it also is a way of bringing together people as well. And in fact, that's also the reason why I have the permit for the tasting room, is for allow these kind of combinations of experiences. And also my husband, who is from Italy, recently had to close his 3-generation family bakery making by hand pasta bread and sweets. And he has his green card, and was here for about 2 months trying to find a job. And it wasn't easy. And he found a couple of opportunities at minimum wage, and he did the math and realized that he needed some additional income from that, and would like to use his craft in such a way as being able to use a home kitchen. So I also want to mention, as Peter said, there is a sign up form. I brought my laptop, so after the presentation, if you just want to kind of do it while you're here, it's really easy and quick. So does anyone else want to say a couple of words? Maria?
Hola, yo soy María Dávalos y soy líder comunitaria de aquí del website de Manos Unidas y del grupo, dirijo un grupo de Manos Unidas aquí en la comunidad.
It's called Manos Unidas, and it's a group that I lead.
Y hoy estoy en esta noche también apoyando a
I am
Sheila,
here to support Shayla,
especialmente a nuestra comunidad.
especially in our neighborhood.
Yo tengo un gran ejemplo aquí con una de mis colegas del grupo.
I have here one who cooks from her home. She's here today.
Ella es Margarita.
Her name is Margarita.
Ella vende tamales
She sells tamales
2 días por semana.
2 days out of the week.
Tiene 2 niños,
She has 2 kids.
una niña, un niño con autismo.
Her son has autism.
Y para mí ella es una madre muy sorprendente.
And to me, she's a very superior mother.
Tiene a sus niños en actividades artísticas.
She has her kids in activities.
Y yo creo que cualquier madre sabrá el sacrificio y el esfuerzo que es tener un hijo con
And
autismo.
I believe that we all who are parents can realize the sacrifice that parents have to do when you have an autism child.
Ella no trabaja porque pues tiene el cuidado de sus niños.
She does not work because she doesn't have child care. She takes care of her children.
Tiene su esposo,
She has her husband
trabaja,
who works,
pero ella
but she
cocina.
cooks.
Ella 2 días por semana sale, tiene sus clientes.
So 2 days out of the week, she has her clients.
Los fines de semana hace comida de Chiapas porque ella es originaria de
So
Chiapas.
on the weekends, she makes food, authentic food from Chiapas, because that's where she's from.
Tiene muchos clientes
She has a lot of clients,
y la admiro mucho
and I admire her a lot
porque yo sé que hay muchas madres que hacen lo mismo que ella.
because I know there's a lot of mothers out there that do the same.
Entonces necesitamos apoyar esta enmienda
So we do need to support this program
para todas esas mujeres
for all those women
de cocina doméstica.
that cook at home.
Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you,
Y esperamos que de verdad nos apoyen como comunidad,
and I hope that you guys all support us as a community.
porque como ellas decían,
And like they would say, and
es
eat,
comida fresca,
it's fresh food,
se come al momento,
and you eat it at that moment.
y cuando ella hace sus ventas de tamales, ella los vende en un momento, o sea, no va
When she sells her tamales, she sells them at that instant. She has no leftovers,
y ya tiene mucho tiempo haciéndolo.
and she's been doing it for a lot of time.
Entonces, muchísimas gracias comunidad y gracias
Thank you,
porque necesitamos apoyar esta
And we
enmienda.
should support this program.
También María sabe cocinar súper bien. Antes me invitaba mucho, pero ya no tanto, pero no sé por qué, pero no. I was just saying that Maria is a really good cook as well, but I was just curious about how do folks promote like their local kitchen so we would know about that and be able to contribute.
Okay, at this point in time, the county has not adopted this ordinance.
Sorry, just to add to that, how does this align with the new legislation that came out with street food and everything?
I'll defer to Peter on that.
Sorry, which legislation?
The legislate, I don't know the name of the legislation, but now street vendors can be outside without being kind of shut down like they were previously. So each jurisdiction could pass their own kind of health regulations on it. It's up to, I believe, each county to do that as well.
Right. Okay. Thanks for asking that question. So the mobile ones are typically referred to as food carts. And 2 years ago, food cart law at the state level was amended, and the counties and cities had to bring their programs up to date. That amendment said that it has always said you need to be in a permitted kitchen. The food cart needs to be based in a permitted kitchen, but the amendment 2 years ago said that cottage food and Miko home kitchens can be the permitted base for a food cart. So cottage food is statewide. If you make pastries or jams, you can sell them in a food cart that is associated with your cottage food and docked at your home. Miko, if you're in one of the 19 jurisdictions, you can also do that. And since in Ventura haven't adopted Miko, if you had hot food, if you had a meal, you would still have to be at a commercial kitchen. You would have to dock the food cart at a commercial kitchen. So arguably I should have updated my first slide to include food carts that would be allowed. And thank you for that. I'll do that next time I do this presentation.
That's SB 972, right?
Yeah, that's the law that connected cottage food and Miko to food carts.
Correct. The Miko law is the AB 626, and I will use those interchangeably when I'm talking about that. Did that answer your question pretty well?
Yes, it did. Thank you. I guess jurisdictions that have established it, they've come up with like networks so locals can find the local kitchens to eat at and everything. Is that kind of what we would be striving for if we passed the local legislation?
Peter, would that refer to the food map on Cook Alliance?
Unmute yourself.
Oh, it muted me. No problem. If I understood the question, it is up to the individuals to promote themselves. And so they would have to find their own customers. Maybe I didn't understand the question correctly.
No, I guess it was kind of a big question, but I guess, yeah, ways that we could, if we did pass it, we could promote folks like this woman here who's making the food from Chiapas and everything, you know, and promote other local cooks. So that's all I was just trying to think about how to frame it at the local level.
Community promotion would be a good thing. There is an allied organization that is creating a map. It's really hard to keep it up to date. Some people decide after a year that they don't want to continue as a Miko. I want to consider that a success. They've decided after a year's trial they don't necessarily want to have a business for the home food that was the hobby, and they have spent maybe a couple of $1,000s and earned a couple thousand back. They've more or less broken even. Whereas if they had to do a brick and mortar restaurant and kept it open for a year, they would have easily spent 6 figures, and then they would have to try to sell all of the hardware. There are people who want this to be a home business because of kids. I know 2 cooks who have disabled children. They don't ever want to grow. But there are other people who want this as a sort of trial. I might like a restaurant, but I want to try it first. And whatever your path is, whatever works for you is gold.
I just want to say, I'm grateful for Peter's leadership on this all over the state. And he's been working on it in our county for years. And he and Pat called us down to the County Board of Supervisors. It was a long shot. We weren't real organized. We didn't have a lot of people like that had a vested interest in making it happen. And it didn't go over well at all with the board. There's actually looked like they kind of understood it.
That was Matt Levere.
Our supervisor on this side had some good business sense, and but all the other four voted no on it. They were unsure, and so we need some organizing of people who can like really like there's to being in the neighborhood. I think that was probably what they were most like uncertain about. So that would be the path, would be stay connected with Peter and when we can go talk to the different board members and then show up and fill the hall like that.
So, to be able to have the MECOs in Ventura County, the next step, as far as the legislation goes, is to have the County Board of Supervisors vote to enact the MECO Act in Ventura County. So action item there is there's a sign-on form that asks the Board of Supervisors, you know, as an individual, that we want this for our community. The other action item is for us as the West Side Community Council and the other community councils to send a letter to the Board of Supervisors saying that we want this in our community. And then for the cities, you know, there's 10 cities in the county, and we're targeting getting half of those 5 cities to send a letter to the Board of Supervisors that we want this. So once the Board of Supervisors approves the MECO for Ventura County, then we can start having the home kitchens. And why would we want to do that? To bring the food we're passionate about to other people, share our love for food knowledge, engage with our community, provide meals in an environment that brings people together in our homes, to connect with new people and be your own boss, to supplement your income on your own schedule, work part-time around your parental commitments, childcare, senior care, etc. To be an owner in a food business with very low startup costs, to make money, you're doing something you love. A lot of people, there's a number of people just love cooking and cook beautiful food. And then you can support yourself by doing that. You can run cooking classes. You can prepare meals for Airbnbs, and you can prepare and sell takeout meals.
So what can you do about it is sign that form, sign the online form. I suggest maybe Marco, if you can put it in an email. So because it's like kind of a long link. And then I have my laptop if someone wants to just do it tonight. What? Right next to Maria.
Yeah, so see Sheila after the meeting if you want to do it tonight. Otherwise, we'll send an email out to those people that couldn't be here tonight. If you're interested in checking it out later, we'll discuss it at our board meeting next week for community council support or not, and so we'll go from there. So that's my comment. 2 questions. One, in terms of the Board of Supervisors, have you met individually with each of the Board of Supervisors to sort of explain to them a little bit more and more organized fashion compared to a year ago, as you were mentioning?
We've actually met with the Charles Ginkle, who's head of environmental health for the county. We've met with him. I've met with my own supervisor, Darrell. We've not met with the other, and we've also met with a mayor of Moore Park, and the list escapes me at this point. Peter would know better.
Pat, your microphone isn't working, or I can't hear you. I do want to mention to folks in the room, I do not think we should go back to the Board of Supervisors until we have those 5 or so city letters. We should get the city letters first.
So talking to your city council people? Email.
So email your council rep, and then it can go from there. I was just curious if you.
Can you hear me now, Peter?
Yes.
Okay, then that was my fault. That was our biggest action item, is get the letter signed, talk to your council people if you're outside of this area here, and have a look at the ordinances with the state, as well. We have some things right there, some graphics there. They are a little bit dated. The last, they're about 4 years old, but they're still very good. I also know that there's the editor of Edible Magazine would love to speak to anybody who is doing indigenous foods and would love to do articles on them. So you already have press, you already have people looking for you to do this. So if you are really interested in doing something like Chef Sean Sherman does with the Sioux Chef, then where he does indigenous foods, they're all over you with that information. We'd love to see it too.
So just a question of clarification in terms of all the stuff that was being outlined for like the law. I guess that's the state law. That's like the minimum, like the 100K max, and then the delivery restriction from who can deliver. So if counties were to implement it, they can only be more restrictive than that. They can't change any of those components that you said maybe you disagree with certain aspects of it. Is that the case?
They cannot be more restrictive. They adopt the law. If the law doesn't mention something, then they have discretion, but the law cannot be moved up or down when it does mention something. So the 100,000 is the cap, and it will actually go up in the next week or two. It has an inflation clause.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Any other questions? We have time for one, maybe 2 more questions. No. All right, great. You guys will be getting more information.
A quick
yes.
note. I realized it's making you sign in to your Gmail and all that. So it's not. Can't really use my computer. You have to use your own computer to sign up. But you're gonna send out an email, right, with the link?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We'll do. All right. Thank you for being here. Let's give them all a round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thanks, Peter.
Thank you all.
All right. Well, everyone just take a deep breath. Just got a few seconds here as we wrap up. A lot of stuff that we cover here today. So just no old business that we'll go over today. Continue that to next month, such as what we were discussing last month in terms of ideas and stuff. So stay tuned on that. We went over all of our announcements earlier. The one thing that I do want to announce, so we collected, we did the Pass the Hat, and I just want to thank everyone that donated. We raised $75 tonight, and obviously after seeing our bank account or our current funds, that was a 29% increase in our funds just from tonight from the Pass the Hat. So thank you very much. And thank you all for being here. Yes. If anyone, I will entertain 1 or 2. We have an open comment period. If anyone has anything else they want to say before we adjourn. No? Okay, well, thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for our presenters, Sheila, Peter, Pat, and Vanessa. Obviously check out Swap Meet Justice. I was there last month. Hopefully I'll make it out again. I feel like I barely scratched the surface, but it's a great event over in Oxnard. So Other than that, yeah, first Friday here at Bell Arts this Friday, and our next general meeting first Wednesday in April. This meeting is officially adjourned. Thank you, everyone.